This recap video is continuing from the previous recap video that I made about the second floor arc of Towers and Gods. Make sure to watch the previous recap, the link is down below if you haven't caught up yet. Towers and Gods is D&D plus Tower of God. We do it every single Friday here at 7 p.m. here on the channel, but with over 40 episodes, I totally get people who are having a hard time catching up to the series. So today, we're going to be talking about the second arc of Towers and Gods, the Artlum Arc, which runs from episode 14 to episode 18. It's a pretty short arc overall, but there are a lot of very important things that go down, so we're going to talk about them today, catch you up for the Lindquist Arc. Okay, so 6 months after the events of the second floor, the group finally arrives on the 6th floor, which is entirely sand. Just sand everywhere. It's a desert, it's scorching hot, there's cacti and strange creatures roaming about, and the party has to journey through the sand for at least a day before arriving at their destination. On the way, Leaf is just having so much fun investigating all the different cacti. Shion and Jong continue their relationship, which has built up to become pretty strong and close over the climb so far. They train a lot and they have a pretty good relationship, but then Victor confesses his feelings for Eden. He does give her some warnings about what if their relationship doesn't work out and this and that, but Eden reciprocates and the two of them are officially now a thing. Also, Wu is like pretending to be sleeping and listen to the entire thing. It's pretty great. The next morning, the team arrives in the merchant city of Artlum, which is a pretty large city filled with merchants who run various shops and stores, selling all kinds of items and treasures. It's a merchant city, and it's also where the testing bureau from Jihad's empire is located, where the party can take their test. However, there's a delay. They can't take the test for another 2 entire months, so the party decides to explore the city while they wait. The city's pretty interesting because although it's very boisterous and there's all kinds of blacksmiths and restaurants and shops and merchants, of course, there's also another half of the city which is made up of the poor and starving and homeless. There's a huge wealth disparity in Artlum, and the party is quick to notice this. However, it is filled with a lot of history, and it is run by both the Council of Artlum, made up of various important and wealthy figures who make all the legal decisions and everything, and the Artlum City Watch, the guards who are supposed to be responsible for taking out monsters and keeping the city peace. So overall, Artlum is a mutual cooperation between the people of Artlum and the Jihad Empire. Soon after the party arrives, sand lickers erupt out of the sand and start attacking people. Sand lickers are a variant of a creature we'd seen before. It's this disgusting, sand-dwelling, tongue-licking creature, but the party is able to deal with these enemies pretty easily, and apparently this monster problem is a regular occurrence in recent Artlum history, which kind of raises some eyebrows from the party. But the party also learns that during this commotion that sometimes happens, bandits have been stealing from the rich and the poor and causing trouble in Artlum. Much of the party's time is spent at Timion's pawn shop of trinkets far and wide, which is a pawn shop run by a man named Timion, who is a stout, bejeweled man with like a million different rings on his fingers. He owns and operates it himself with just a couple of helpers, one of which is Ernest, a young and quiet boy who's important later on. The party doesn't really buy anything, but they do find out from Timion that one of his necklaces has gone missing, a very treasured possession of his. It was stolen by a blind, green-haired boy years ago, and he's hiring regulars to look for this necklace, and if they do find it and return it to him, he'll reward them very handsomely. Now, this boy is not on this floor. He's a regular who is climbing the tower, but the party does agree. They agree to find this necklace and return it, which comes into play later on. Wu ends up meeting an adventuring regular named Laura Cross at a nearby brothel, which he'd entered just to gain information, just to be clear, and she gives him a tip about a group of bandits who are apparently living near the city in a cave. She tells them that if him and his party take out these bandits, they will be rewarded by the City Watch, by the Artlum Guard, and they can use that money to help pay for their upcoming test. She says she would do it herself because she likes taking on odd jobs and stuff like that, but her test was already done. She's climbing the tower the next day, so she's unable to. Before she leaves, she ends up telling Wu that there were 2 mysterious individuals sighted in that area west of Artlum, and to be careful because they're apparently causing trouble. Either way, Wu tells the party and they agree to take on this request. They head west of Artlum that same night, and they end up finding the cave, which is surrounded by a massive cliff. There's these old pillars that are in the middle of this like almost arena of a circle, surrounded by these massive rock outcrops. Is that outcrops? That's a word, right? A rock formation. Yes, it is a word. English major. Like, I knew it was a word, but just like outcrop relating to rocks? Before the party can enter the cave, however, they are greeted by these two shady individuals, two regulars from Aesir, the organization that Nissan and Fluxvolk from the second floor are a part of, the same organization that apparently has an interest in the 5 main characters. They introduce themselves as Smile and Bool. Smile is a chainsaw-wielding maniac of a clown, while Bool is more calm and collected and uses purple flame. Either way, they are apparently knights of Aesir. We learned that Nissan was just a pawn, but Nissan was a ranker while these two are regulars. It's really interesting. The two of them want to pick a fight with these 8 regulars, the 5 main characters, Leaf, Victor, and Xion, so they end up splitting up while Smile takes on half the party and then Bool takes on the other half, separating the arena in purple flame. Bool is actually mostly brought down by his opponents, but Smile absolutely dominates her fight. She's even blinded at one point by Mizaru, one of Wu's monkeys, and she doesn't even care. She continues to severely wound her enemies and almost kills Timion. But either way, satisfied with the little test of strength, Smile and Bool escape with the help of a young boy who is mysteriously unnamed for now. Either way, the party moves on from this strange event, enters the cave, and find the bandits, all of the different thieves, are already dead. Smile and Bool have already killed them, leaving the reward to the party. But interestingly enough, after a bit of investigation, these bandits aren't the jewel-coated, treasure-seeking thieves that they were told about. These people are starving. They're skinny, and their only treasures are rotten food in these old broken chests. These are not the same people they were told about. So half the party decides to head back to Artlum, and they're gonna claim this as their bounty. They head back to Artlum with a critically injured Timion, but on the way, they're attacked by Heinkels, these monkeys that gather sand and spit on the sand to harden them into balls, which they chuck at their opponents to literally murder them. They're murder sand monkeys, basically. Murder sand spitting monkeys. But Wu is able to use his mastery of persuasion and his knowledge of monkeys to end up making these Heinkels play with each other instead of murdering them. So Wu comes in clutch. The next morning, guards from Artlum end up escorting the rest of the party who's still at the cave back to Artlum, but not before Rowan Sunstroke, the leader of the Artlum Guard, investigates the cave, comes back out, seemingly no problem, introducing himself to the party as the leader of the Artlum Guard, but then he offers them a deal. He offers that this deal will allow them to pass the test on the 6th floor with no hitch because of his connection to the Jihad Empire / Testing Bureau in Artlum. And he has his associate Hoban, who is his assistant and one of his soldiers, tell the party that their task, if they agree, is to assassinate Timion, the owner of the pawn shop. If they do so, they can ascend to the next floor, no waiting for 2 months, totally for free. The reasoning is a bit muddy as to why they want Timion murdered, but there have been rumors that Timion is actually a slave trader, along with other things, that Timion is corrupt and he has this power that he's going to abuse as a member of the council. So the party tentatively agrees to the decision, but they end up learning that Ernest, Timion's employee, has gone missing mysteriously. Eden and the others end up finding Ernest and rescuing him before the Artlum Guard finds him. Mysteriously, they're out looking for him too. It's a close call, and they bring him back to their hotel. I call it a hotel, it's like a shack. It's a shack run by an old woman who is constantly yelling at them. It's pretty funny. The party ends up learning from Ernest that 2 of his friends have been caught and imprisoned by the guards, and these 2 friends were caught for stealing. But they weren't stealing jewels. They were stealing food, trying to survive. The party makes the connection, realizes the Artlum Guard might not be as noble as they claim to be, and decide to investigate and ask Timion himself. In the middle of all of this, Victor comes up with a grand plan, a way to make some money here on this floor, because there's a place in Artlum called the Training Ground, and apparently you can host tournaments there and fights, and you can actually place bets on these fights. So he decides that they're going to fake a fight, rig a match between Zhang and himself, and when they rig the winner, they'll be able to make a ton of money off of the bets. The plan is for Zhang to win, disguised as his Gasu Neymar alter ego. They'll make it a super close match, Zhang will come out on top, and they'll make a bunch of money. Timion steps in and devilishly takes on the role of coordinating the entire fight, emceeing the event, and for much of this arc, he's just going around twirling his little fake mustache, not really, but I always imagine it there, and basically drumming up backers for the fight, and he ends up attracting a swarm of people. Basically, all of Artlum is gonna be there for this event. He's also hyping up Leaf, who's going to be used as a demonstration of Zhong's power during like a preliminary fight, and he tries to make her Darth Vader. That's all I'll say. But during the coordination of this event, and because of Ernest's disappearance, the Artlum Guard is starting to get suspicious of the party. Eden comes in clutch, saves the day, but the Artlum Guard is still suspicious of what's going on, so they have their eye on the party. So the party decides to confront Timion about all of this because they're not entirely sure about the slave trader rumors, and they're not entirely sure that the Artlum Guard is all they're cracked up to be, the City Watch. So instead of assassinating them, they ask him to sponsor their event. But afterward, after Timion agrees to sponsor their event, Brack ends up aggressively entering Timion's shop. He threatens Timion, kind of on accident, but it's Brack, so it happens, instead of telling him of the assassination plan. So Timion calls upon his bodyguards, these ninjas who hide in the shadows of his shop. They capture Brack and Shion, lock them up in the basement of his shop, and Eden has to come in later on, explain to Timion what Brack really meant to do. It ends up working. They end up getting freed. Brack is no longer allowed to enter the shop. It's a whole debacle. But during the conversation between Timion and Eden, Timion reveals that he's in the middle of a deal as a member of the council. He's about to make a deal, along with the rest of the council, that allows the Jihad Empire more influence in the city of Artlum, and because of this newfound influence, the City Watch will no longer be needed. There's already been complaints of inadequacy from the City Watch. When those monsters attack, those sandlickers, it's not the City Watch that usually defends the town, it's regulars like the party did. So the City Watch will essentially be eliminated, so it gives a reason. Basically, it explains why the City Watch might want Timion dead before he makes this deal. So the two parties align, Eden and her team along with Timion, and Timion agrees to also smuggle Ernest to safety. But overall, more important matters are at hand, because the fight is coming up at the training grounds. It's been staged and set thanks to Damien and the rest of the party who've been advertising this huge climactic battle. The preliminary battle happens between Gasu, quote unquote, and Leaf. Gasu wins, it hypes him up as a fierce competitor against the great Coon Victor, who's apparently super famous as described by Damien, and the battle begins between the two Coons with Damien as the MC, while Hraesvelgr is selling merch in the background. And of course, Hraesvelgr makes a ton of money selling merch. The crowd is cheering wildly, and most people have bet on Victor, so of course, because of the rigged bet, the party bets on Zhong. Now, the battle is rather close, but what no one expected was that the two Coons seem to be taking it seriously. They both seem to be going all out. It's kind of unsure if Victor is, but it's implied. And despite the fact that Zhong ends up winning the fight, he almost kills Victor even after he's defeated. He lets his rage run wild, his hatred for the Coon family, but he is stopped by the party before killing Victor. Damien ends up healing Victor with some healing potions, and they're trying to calm Zhong down, and amidst the chaos, Shion goes missing, mysteriously. While Eden goes off and tries to find Shion, she ends up being ambushed. Both Eden and Shion, together now, are ambushed by Hobin, who is revealed to not just be a member of the City Watch, but actually the leader of the true bandits that have been pillaging the city. Unaware of Eden and Shion's situation, Damien and the others end up cashing in from the fight, but immediately afterward, Rowan Sunstroke, the City Watch, and a team of regulars that had interacted with the party a couple of times, they place the party under arrest. They don't specify why, but they ask the party to go with them. But, of course, the party does not agree, and a massive fight ensues. This team, Team Goat, led by Goat and Whimsy and a bunch of other regulars, Rowan Sunstroke and the City Watch, and of course, Team Black. Damien and Victor end up escaping temporarily, so it's really Leaf and Brack and Wu and Zhong who are fighting off these hordes of City Watchmen, while Eden and Shion continue fighting the true bandits. Shion is severely injured, but Eden and Shion do come out on top, and Eden ends up decapitating Hobin in a huge fit of rage. If you thought the Zhong rage was bad, she decapitates Hobin, takes out her spear, since she is a spear bearer, pins the head on her spear, and charges into the other battle with this head on her pike. It's pretty insane. It's kind of nuts. Eden is known to lose her temper and let her rage consume her from time to time, but this outburst is unlike anything they've ever seen. It's a long and bloody battle, but with the arrival of Timion and Victor out of nowhere, disguised as freaking Mandalorians, that's a whole nother thing, they turn the tide around, and Rowan and his guards, along with Team Goat, the other regulars, they're soundly defeated, bodies just strewn everywhere. And this event, years and years down the line, will come to be known as the Artlum Massacre. Rowan is one of the only survivors. Rowan's sunstroke himself, and he tries to escape, he tries to run off, but he's interrupted by the arrival of the council themselves, adorned in their robes, led by Timion. Timion lets Rowan know that his plan to assassinate him wouldn't have worked anyway, because the council had already made their decision. The Jihad Empire will not only have more influence in Artlum, they're taking over Artlum entirely. Artlum and its vast history and old buildings will be wiped off the map and transformed into a skyscraper-filled metropolis, where the testing bureau will have much more control and the Jihad Empire will be at the top. And then the test administrator himself arrives. A man named Sneff, this hunched over, really tall individual with dark eyes and yellow teeth, and he walks super slowly. He approaches Rowan, lifts him off the ground, punching a hole through his chest and removing his heart before crushing it. Rowan is dead, and Sneff has officially put an end to the City Watch. So yeah, Timion is saved, the City Watch is stopped, but at what cost? The next day, Brack is wandering around the city and already is starting to see fights break out and posters warning the people of Artlum about what's about to happen. It's pretty crazy. And Brack thinks about his father, thinks about what's going to happen, and thinks about the state of the tower itself. And yeah, the party is unsure if they made the right decision. Boom, okay, I had to film the next day because my camera battery died, so that's cool. What's up, Luca? How you doing? Luca's just having a good time, you know. She's just... Oh my gosh, hi. Hi. And thus she continues her journey to the top of the tower. We could all learn a lesson from Luca. She's made it. At this point, it's time for Team Black to leave the floor for good, leave behind Artlum. A lot of them have been just scarred from this whole experience, but before they can leave, Sneff tells them that there's one more thing they have to do. They have to sign a contract and perform one last task, a task to prove that they were indeed the ones who killed those thieves, and that they do indeed deserve to climb to the next floor. Their task is to kill one of two thieves, and the two thieves that are brought forward are a young boy and a young girl, Ernest's two friends who were captured by the Artlum Guard. All they have to do is kill one, but the party is shocked, unsure of what to do. Wu immediately rejects the idea, citing his values and freedom, but they agree to a vote. They agree to hold a vote, and ultimately, Victor, Jong, Timion, and Eden agree to the decision, while Wu, Brack, and Shion vehemently disagree. Leaf abstains from the vote, but ultimately, the decision is made. Timion and Eden fight over which one should make the kill, but Eden pulls out her spear and kills the boy. That's it. She makes the decision for the team after the vote. And then a couple seconds later, Sneff kills the girl. Just like that, both of them are dead. He was just seeing what they would do. He was testing them, and ultimately, because of Eden, they pass. Everyone signs the contract. Wu comes close to tearing up his contract, but after Leaf tearfully strengthens her resolve to climb the tower, he signs it, because he knows he has to stay with her. Right before ascending, the party receives a mysterious letter, a note from Smile and Boole themselves, stating their intent to see them on the 30th floor. And that's that. The next arc is the Lindquist Arc, which takes place on the 20th floor of the tower. It's one of the most action-packed arcs of the entire series. Tons of new characters, tons of old characters that return. It's super fun, and I'll cover that in my next video. But if you want to continue leaving off and continue with the Lindquist Arc, it starts with episode 19 of the series, which I'll leave that link down below. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Really hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to check out Towers and Gods, the link is down below to the entire playlist. And of course, we're live every single Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Feel free to stop on by, see if you enjoy the series, and you can always pick up wherever we've left off. With that said, take care, I'll see you soon, bye-bye.